Welcome back everyone. Workbook Solutions, your morning star workbook solutions. Julius Caesar, Act 5, Scene 3. In today's session, a one-shot session, I'm going to discuss the RTC extracts as well as the test and evaluation section. Dear students, do check the description box or the pinned comment section for all important video links related to your syllabus. Extract 1, it's there on the screen. Question 1. Where does this scene take place? Act 5, Scene 3 of Julius Caesar takes place at Philippi, another part of the battlefield. Who was the coward? The coward was the flag bearer who was cowardly running away. Dear students, if there are subparts, change paragraphs. Why did Cassius kill the coward? Cassius has turned against his own men because they are leaving them. He is betrayed by them. He kills the standard bearer as he was turning back, and Cassius takes the standard from him. So this is a specific reason. To the point, in brief, answers. Dear students, the length of the answer is going to vary depending on the questions available. So don't worry about the length. These are reference answers. Take help from these answers and try to frame your own answers according to your own specific requirements. Question 2. What did Titanius say about the error committed by Brutus? According to Titanius, Brutus gave the word too early, a textual quotation and its explanation as well. That is, Brutus gave the command to attack too early, jaldbazi, harbadi. This was the error. Having some advantage over Octavius, he took hold of it too early. And what were the consequences of the error? His soldiers started to loot, but Cassius's army has been surrounded completely by Antony's soldiers. Again, I have underlined the key words and expressions. Go through the entire session and I'm sure you will understand the scene a little more. Come on. Next question. On what errand does Cassius now send Titanius? Cassius asked Titanius to mount his horse, number 1, and make it run fast by sinking his spurs into its sides, number 2, until he has reached the troops stationed farther that side, and number 3, and then come back again. In this way, Cassius will be able to know whether the soldiers belong to them or the enemy. So this is the errand, the task entrusted upon Titanius by Cassius. What does Cassius tell Pindarus to do for him? He sends Titanius away and he tells Pindarus to go higher on that hill. He has always been short-sighted, weak eyesight, poor eyesight. Pindarus must watch Titanius and tell him what he sees in the battlefield. जाओ, ऊपर जाओ और मुझे बताओ क्या हो रहा है battlefield में. और Titanius के ऊपर भी नजर रखो. So this is what Cassius tells Pindarus to do. A specific compact answer. I have changed paragraph as well. Question 4. Pindarus, Cassius's slave, enters. What does he say? Pindarus informs Cassius that Titanius has been enclosed. Quotation, meaning surrounded round about by horsemen. He tells what he sees from that hill, who are riding towards him quickly. Titanius is riding fast. Then they are almost on him, very close to him and almost on him. I have quoted from the text and have given the brief explanation as well. Some horsemen get off their horses and capture Titanius. They shout for joy. This is what Pindarus has seen. Now, how does his information seem to confirm Cassius's fears? Cassius is apprehensive. He is fearful that, like Titanius, he may be led in chains as a prisoner of war. He will also be made a prisoner of war and he will be led in chains as a prisoner of war in a procession through the streets of Rome if they lose the battle. This is what he had told Brutus. What would you do, Brutus, if this happens to you? So he is fearful about losing the battle and the consequences of losing that battle. Next, I hope you have understood. So this is the answer. Next, what does Cassius think aloud while Pindarus is away? Cassius thinks that time has come round. Point number 1. Point number 2, his life has completed a full circle, that is, a quotation, run his compass. Number 3, he will end his life on the same day on which he was born. So, Cassius thinks aloud all these things while Pindarus is away. And why is the day significant to Cassius in more ways than one? He was born on this day, breathed first, he will end his life on the same day. So this is the significance. Extract number 2, dear students, it's there on the screen. Who are Titinius and Pindarus? Where are they at the moment? Why? 3 subparts, 3 paragraphs. Titinius is a close friend of Cassius and Brutus. Pindarus is Cassius' trusted slave. Finished, first part. Where are they at the moment? They are on a hill near the battlefield of Philippi. And why are they there? They are here as they have fled the battlefield after being defeated by Mark Antony's soldiers. Question number 2. Explain the meaning even with a thought. Why has Titinius to go? The expression even with a thought means faster than the speed of a thought. And Titinius will be back here again as quick as a thought. वो जाएगा और वो झट से वापस आएगा. As quick as a thought. आप सोचो और मैं वापस आ जाऊंगा. And why has Titinius to go? Titinius has to go because Cassius has entrusted upon him the task, just as we discussed a little while ago. Cassius has entrusted upon him the task of mounting his horse and riding to the troop station far off and bring news from there. Cassius will be certain if those soldiers are theirs or the enemy's. Cassius wants to confirm whether those soldiers belong to him or those soldiers belong to the enemy camp. So I hope I have made myself pretty clear over here as well. Question number 3, very quickly. What report did Pindarus now give about Titinius? Pindarus reports that Titinius has been surrounded, again the same thing, has been surrounded completely by horsemen who are riding towards him quickly. In spite of that, Titinius is riding fast. Finally, they get off their horses and make Titinius their captive. They shout for joy. And how did Cassius interpret this report? Cassius hastily means quickly, assesses the outcome of the battle and apprehends that he will be led in chains as a prisoner of war through the streets of Rome if they lose the battle. And he is a coward to live so long, to see his best friend being captured before him. He cannot do anything. They have captured Titinius and he is a coward to live so long. अभी तक केसियस खुद जिंदा है और अपने बेस्ट फ्रेंड के लिए वो कुछ नहीं कर पाए. So this is what he thinks, and he hastily assesses the outcome of the whole situation. This is what is going to happen. They are going to take me prisoner, and I could not do anything for my friend. Alas, I am a coward to be alive. Next, what action did Cassius now take? How did the outcome of this action affect Pindarus? How did number A, Titinius, and number B, Brutus react to what Cassius did? Now this is going to be a lengthy answer. Just look at the question. They have asked for so many things in a single question. Multiple subparts. So the first subpart, what action did Cassius now take? Cassius reminded Pindarus of an oath, a promise of allegiance, and commanded him to pierce his chest with the same sword that killed Julius Caesar. In this way, he committed suicide. And he covered his face, and Pindarus killed him with the sword. He reminded Pindarus, मेरी बात सुनो और मुझे मार दो. And he covered his face, and Pindarus killed him with the sword. How did the outcome of this action affect Pindarus? Pindarus became a free man. The slave Pindarus became a free man. He decided to run away from Rome, where no Roman could ever observe him. Next. Now, how did Titinius react to it? Seeing Cassius's corpse, Titinius was disappointed, number 1, and grief-stricken, number 2. He laments, number 3, the son of Rome is set and later commits suicide, 3 and 4. So again, a compact answer, reaction of Titinius in brief. And what is the reaction of Brutus now? Let's see. Brutus is heartbroken. He concludes that Caesar's spirit is walking about and is turning their swords into the very own bodies of the conspirators. But he takes charge, sends Cassius's body to Thassos for his funeral, and he returns to the battlefield with Cato and others. So he is grief-stricken, but he takes control. Next. Refer to or quote, just see the question, the length of the question. You can well imagine the answer now. Refer to or quote what Cassius said to Brutus earlier in the play to prove that this tragedy could have been avoided. Do you remember? Yes? Refer to another occasion. So we'll have to mention 2 occasions when a somewhat similar mistake had been made by Brutus. What is your opinion of Brutus and Cassius in this connection? So 3 subparts. Brutus wanted to fuss apart. First example, first situation. Brutus wanted to march to Philippi presently, but Cassius said to him, I do not think it good. It is better that the enemy should advance towards them. By doing so, the enemy soldiers would be weary, while their soldiers would be full of rest, defense, and nimbleness. Brutus declined his proposal, and this resulted in the tragedy. हड़बड़ी में ब्रूटस ने जो डिसीजन लिया, आज उसी का कॉन्सिक्वेंस उन्हें यहाँ पे मिल रहा है. So this is the first occasion, and somewhat similar occasion when Brutus did not listen to Cassius. Brutus had allowed Mark Antony to speak at Caesar's funeral. He did not pay heed to Cassius's warning. Cassius had asked him, don't allow Mark Antony to deliver the funeral speech. But Brutus did not listen to Cassius at that point of time. Now character sketch. Cassius was observant, number 1, number 2, shrewd, number 3, far-sighted. And Brutus lacked practical sense. He was an idealist. He lacked practical sense like Cassius. So this is the answer. Next, extract number 3 now. What had Pindarus been looking at? What did he report on what he thought he saw? He thought he saw it from a distance. Pindarus had been looking at Titinius from above the hill near the battlefield of Philippi. ऊपर से वो देख रहा था नीचे. Cassius instructed him to tell him what he saw in the battlefield. He had to look if those were Cassius's tents where Cassius perceived the fire burning. So Titinius को देखना था, battlefield में क्या हो रहा है वो देखना था, और tents वहां पे जो नीचे टेंट्स है वो देखो, वो टेंट्स किसका है. And Cassius had perceived the fire burning. Next, what did he report on what he thought he saw? He reported that the tents belonged to Cassius. He also informs Cassius that Titinius is taken. that is captured. The report was, however, wrong. Next, what is meant by I swore thee? The expression I swore thee means that Cassius made Pindarus promise, take an oath, because Cassius had spared his life when the former had taken the latter prisoner in Parthia. Former का मतलब Cassius, latter का मतलब यहाँ पे Pindarus. Pindarus को याद दिलाया, remember that promise you had made when I had spared your life. I took you prisoner and I made you promise that you will do whatever I tell you to do. What had Pindarus promised to do? Pindarus had promised to attempt, means do whatsoever Cassius bid thee do, ask him to do. So textual reference as well as brief explanation in simple English. What is he asked to do now? उसी को याद रख के Cassius asks Pindarus to keep his oath and become a free man, pierce his chest with the same sword that killed Julius Caesar. He must not wait to answer. He must hold the handle, and when Cassius will have covered his face, Pindarus must kill him with the sword. Compact answer. This is how, dear students, you must write your answers. See? This is how you must write your answers. Multiple subparts. So the answers are a bit lengthy. I hope in the examination everything will be adjusted. Time management is important, dear students. So read your text thoroughly. Go through the texts again and again, and I am sure you will do well in your exams. Narrate what has happened a few minutes earlier which makes Cassius desperate. Pindarus informed Cassius how Titinius was captured by Mark Antony's soldiers. They shouted for joy. Titinius was surrounded completely by horsemen, rode towards him, and then finally captured him. Was Cassius noble in taking the final decision about himself? Give one reason to justify your answer. His suicide was in keeping with his desire either to live or to die as a free man. He proved to be a Roman soldier fighting bravely in the battle. Thus, he was noble in taking the final decision about himself. He did not want to be disgraced. He did not want to be taken a prisoner of war, according to the Elizabethan concept of honor. What makes it difficult for Pindarus to keep his oath now? Pindarus finds it difficult to keep his oath to Cassius because he is a loyal servant. His loyalty makes it difficult for him, and he is saddened by the prospect of killing his master. He is also sad. He grew fond of Cassius, hence he is reluctant. He is hesitant. Understood? Question 5. What is the evil influence which drives Cassius towards self-destruction? Cassius's hasty assessment of the battle's outcome and his self-destruction are influenced by his interpretation of the carrion birds he saw earlier. I have discussed everything in detail in the other videos. And should one believe in such influences? One should not believe in such omens and superstitions. Omens, why? Omens can have ambiguous meanings for the characters and is often misleading. So this will be a separate paragraph. So change the paragraph and this is the answer. Next. Extract 4. Where does this scene take place? Act 5, Scene 3 of Julius Caesar takes place at Philippi, another part of the battlefield. And who are Titinius and Messala? Titinius is a loyal friend of Cassius and Brutus. He serves as a messenger between Brutus and Cassius. He fights alongside Brutus and Cassius in the Battle of Philippi. So Titinius, this is about Titinius, and now who is Messala? Messala is a senator who joins the conspiracy against Julius Caesar. Like Titinius, he also serves as a messenger, bringing news to Brutus and Cassius. Next, the reasons. Why have they come to the scene? So these are the questions. Why have they come to the scene? The reasons for their presence are: number 1, supporting Brutus and Cassius; number 2, reporting news; and number 3, providing comfort. Titinius attempts to comfort Brutus, who grieves over Cassius's death. Again, a compact answer. Where has Pindarus gone? What has made him go away? Pindarus has run away from Rome. He obeyed Cassius, kept his oath, stabbed Cassius with the same sword that was used to kill Julius Caesar. He was no longer a slave, but he ran away to a place where no Roman would ever observe him. He did not want to kill Cassius, but he had to do it. Next. What report is Messala going to give to Brutus? Cassius is dead. Messala is going to thrust this report into Brutus's ears. And why would the report be like thrusting something into Brutus's ear? Cassius has committed suicide, doubting about good success. The news of Cassius's death would be as bitter and unwelcome to Brutus as a sharp sword and poisoned arrows. Thus, it will be thrusting something into Brutus's ear. Titinius recollects that Brutus has sent a wreath of victory to be given to Cassius. What victory is referred to? Octavius has been defeated by Brutus's army, just as Cassius's troops have been defeated by Antony's troops. What does Titinius do with the wreath? Titinius urges the lifeless Cassius to take this garland on thy brow. That is, puts the wreath on Cassius as bidden by Brutus. And how did Cassius misinterpret the signs of victory? The soldiers of Brutus shouted for joy. Cassius had heard the shouts, misinterpreting their shouts. He became disappointed. He also thought that Titinius was captured by the opponent's soldiers. He hastily assessed the outcome of the battle, doubting good success. So, this is the answer. Here is the answer and here are the questions. See, I have pinned the answer on the screen. Just have a look, dear students. Now, quickly moving on to the next question. State briefly how Titinius pays his respect to Cassius, his dead friend. Titinius eulogizes, praises Cassius after his death, paying tribute to his deceased friend with heartfelt words. The sun of Rome is set. Their day is gone. Their deeds are done. He pays his respect to his dead friend by killing himself with Cassius's sword. This is an act of devotion and loyalty. A compact answer. Students, learn this. A compact answer. Brief, compact answer. Now, extract 5. Where is Titinius at the moment? At this moment, Titinius is on the hill at Philippi on another part of the battlefield. He is in front of the lifeless body of Cassius. And whom is he talking to? He is talking to dead Cassius. Why? He is grief-stricken and shocked to see Cassius lying on the ground dead. He is so disappointed that he is lamenting and mourning over Cassius's self-destruction. Very important. Lamenting, mourning, Cassius's self-destruction. Explain the meaning of misconstrued. This means misinterpreted. And what are the things that have been misconstrued? Titinius had met Cassius's friends. They crowned his head with the wreaths of laurel leaves, symbolic of victory. The wreath was to be given to Cassius. They shouted for joy, and these things have been misinterpreted. Pindarus reported them, and Cassius concluded that Titinius was captured. Pindarus thought that Titinius was captured. He told Cassius, and he also confirmed, he concluded that that was the case. And for what reason did Cassius misinterpret? Cassius made such hasty assessment of the outcome of the battle as he is doubtful. He is superstitious. He is influenced by his interpretation of the carrion birds he saw earlier. So mentally he is upset because of all the omens and superstitions. He is doubtful, superstitious. He is vulnerable. He is short-sighted as well and relies on Pindarus's accounts. What was the garland a sign of? The garland was a sign of honor of being victorious. And why did Brutus send it? As Cassius has been defeated by Brutus's army, Brutus has sent it to Cassius as a token of victory. Explain the meaning of regarded. The word regarded means honored. How did Titinius show his regard now? Titinius now showed his regard by stabbing himself with Cassius's sword. He honored Cassius so highly that he could not live without Cassius. What did Brutus say about Titinius and Cassius when he arrived? Brutus bids farewell to the last of all the Romans, that is Cassius. He observes that Titinius's face is turned up. Seeing the corpses of Cassius and Titinius on his arrival, he observes sadly if there were still any two Romans living as honorable as Cassius. In the beginning, he also asks where Cassius's body was. Next, the scene shows the beginning of the end for the conspirators. What reason does Brutus give for what he saw? Brutus says that even after his death, Julius Caesar is still mighty, powerful. His spirit is walking about and is turning out swords into the bodies of the conspirators to avenge his assassination. Now students learn the spelling of assassination. Double S, again double S. So a total of 4 S. Next, what reason finished? Next, explain how his reason is proved to be true in his own case later. This foreshadows Brutus's tragic end. The ghost of Caesar appeared to him at Sardis once and also in the battlefield of Philippi the previous night. Brutus knew that his hour of death arrived and he ran on his sword, impending death and Brutus's suicide. Extract 6. It's there on the screen. Where is Brutus? Has come to the hill on another part of the battlefield at Philippi. About whom is he speaking? He is speaking about Cassius and Titinius who are lying dead on the ground. To whom does he refer to as the last of the Romans? Why? The reference perhaps is made to Cassius. According to Brutus, Cassius is the last man fit to be called a Roman. This shows, number 1, his respect, number 2, admiration for Cassius, whose commitment to the Roman Republic is praiseworthy. Number 3, Cassius is a symbol of Roman values of courage, loyalty and patriotism. Brutus acknowledges him as one of the last remaining defenders of the Roman Republic, which is on the brink of collapse. So an important answer. This section, dear students, is important. Go through it. Listen to me properly. Try to understand the concept. Clarify your concept and you're good to go. Give a brief but clear account of the events which immediately precede. Precede means that comes before this speech and give rise to it. The battle has commenced. Receiving some wrong information of defeat, Cassius commits suicide. Titinius also kills himself. Pindarus is a free man and runs away from Rome. Messala and Brutus discover the corpses of Cassius and Titinius. Grief-stricken, Brutus delivers the quoted speech, the one that you have on the screen, that speech. So this is a brief but clear account of the events, one after the other. Next, this event combined with another factor caused the death of Brutus a little later. Explain briefly. Brutus's death is caused by a complex factor combined with Cassius's death. Defeated in the Battle of Philippi and surrounded by enemies, Brutus, being a noble Roman, chooses to take his own life rather than be captured as a prisoner of war. The same psychology. Along with this, Brutus sees Caesar's ghost also. This is a deciding factor that serves as a catalyst leading to his death. Brutus sees Caesar's ghost. Caesar's ghost equal to Brutus's guilt, his anxiety, lack of confidence, disappointment. So this is the answer. Next, 5. What instructions does Brutus now give his friends? Brutus asks his friend to send Cassius's body to Thassos for his funeral ceremony. He asks Lucilius and young Cato to go to the battlefield. Labio and Flavius must order their forces to advance, and before night they shall try their luck in a second fight. So this is the answer. And dear students, now it's time for us to go through the test and evaluation passages. Morning Star Workbook, page number 204, extract 1. What attitude of mind do you think Cassius shows in his first speech? Cassius seems to have accepted his fate, acknowledging that his life has come full circle and he is ready to meet his end. He is resigned. He has resigned to his fate, accepting and reflective. He feels betrayed as his own troops are running away, yet as a brave Roman, he is fighting bravely. This is the attitude of mind. Why did Cassius send Pindarus up the hill to watch the happenings instead of going himself? Cassius is on a hill which is far enough from the battlefield. He did not go himself because he would have to climb higher on that hill. He has always been short-sighted. Thus, he sent Pindarus up. Explain clearly and fully what exactly has happened to Titinius. Pindarus saw that Titinius had been captured by horsemen. They shouted for joy. Actually, Titinius met Cassius's friends. Octavius was defeated by Brutus's army. Brutus and his men crowned Titinius's head with a wreath of laurel leaves. He would have to give it to Cassius. They shouted for joy while celebrating their victory. Explain now some light in the last line of the extract. The expression now some light means some of the horsemen alight, get down, get off from their horses. What does Pindarus do after descending? Pindarus keeps his oath, stabs him to death with a sword that killed Julius Caesar. So, stabs Cassius to death with the sword that killed Julius Caesar. And why does he do it? Cassius took Pindarus prisoner in Parthia, and at that time Cassius made him promise that in return for sparing his life, he must do whatever Cassius told him to do. So he asked Pindarus to hold the handle and kill him. Pindarus did not break the promise. So, now the next extract. Are yet two Romans living such as these? This is the extract. Name the two Romans. We know Titinius and Cassius. Give the meaning of the last of all the Romans. So the last man fit to be called a Roman. Here the reference perhaps is made to Cassius. Mention the most eloquent tribute paid by Brutus to Cassius at his death. The speech. Go through the speech. So what did he say? The last man worthy to be called a Roman goodbye. It is impossible that Rome will ever have a man equal to Cassius. And he will shed more tears for Cassius at a later time he is shedding now, and he will find time to mourn over Cassius's death. And he sends his body to Thessos for his funeral ceremonies. And show, in spite of his sorrows, Brutus gives instructions for the burial, for the battle. What light does this throw on the character of Brutus? He takes charge, he takes control. He does not want to dishearten his soldiers. Therefore, he sends Brutus's body for burial away from the battlefield. With reference to this scene, show in what way the spirit of Caesar walks around and turns republican swords in their own proper entrails. Cassius has committed suicide. Titinius has killed himself. Brutus's death is impending. In this way, the spirit of the great Caesar serves as a catalyst. It symbolizes guilt. It symbolizes anxiety, lack of confidence, and this leads to the downfall of the conspirators. So, these are the questions and answers, dear students. And soon I will upload Act 5, Scene 4 questions and answers. So, stay connected.